Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to what I consider to be the most beautiful city hall in all of St. Louis. My name is Terry Crow, and I serve as the mayor of University City. You know, the intersection of Olive and 170 has been talked about for redevelopment efforts for nearly the past 50 years. And next Tuesday, May 28th, the council will introduce legislation that will move forward a development at Olive and 170. We have taken input from our community for the past 12 months. We have had meeting after meeting where we have asked for input from our citizens. We have had a number of social media posts, as everyone would well know, and we believe that the agreement as presented next Tuesday night addresses many of the concerns that have been put forward by our citizens. Two of my colleagues deserve special recognition for the work that they have done in bringing this agreement forward. That is Councilmember Paulette Carr and Councilmember Dwayne Smotherson, because they have been with this project since its very inception. We consider our community to be a very healthy, vibrant, and stable community, one that is both racially and economically diverse and inclusive. This project will help us both expand and diversify our local economy. Our goal is for more people in St. Louis County and beyond to come to University City and spend their tax dollars that will allow us to shore up our city services, benefit our public schools, and most importantly, help our residents that are north of Olive. Many of you may recall that during the last housing crisis, housing prices, particularly in St. Louis and University City as well, took a significant hit. Most all of University City has recovered from that crisis, except for the neighborhoods that are north of Olive. Therefore, in the development agreement with Novus, the city has asked for $15 million over 20 years that would be used to work on the infrastructure, housing needs, and safety for the citizens of our third ward, because third ward is the area that is north of Olive, because we want to make sure that everyone understands that we are in this together. The person who has been our lead negotiator from the beginning is our city manager, Gregory Rose, and I'd now like to introduce him to walk through the details of the agreement. We will be happy to answer any questions from the press that you have once we have concluded. Thank you.
Good morning. Let me start out by recognizing two very important people as well. This was certainly a team effort as it relates to the negotiations. So I'd like to recognize our city attorney, John Mulligan, and our special counsel, Mark Grimm. I also see Rosalind Williams in the room, who was also instrumental as a part of our negotiating team. So glad to see her here. The agreement that will be recommended to the mayor and council for approval is transformational for University City. It will enable the further diversifying of our local economy, and it will enable us to become less reliant on other cities for our revenues. As all of you know, the city of Chesterfield is currently engaged in a lawsuit that could be a game changer as it relates to shared revenue. So we must be prepared, not just for Chesterfield, but for any city, and the potential of shared revenue sources going away. The agreement, if approved by the mayor and council and realized, would result in many other benefits to the city of University City and to the region. About $1 million would go to the region, those pool cities that participate in shared revenue. Roughly $32 million would be benefit to University City. The mayor just discussed with you the $15 million, 10 of which would go to the third ward and $5 million which would go along the Olive Boulevard corridor. We know that between 150 and 250 livable wage jobs, so not just jobs, but livable wage jobs would come to University City as a result of the development. And for any of you that have an economic background, if you apply the multiplier with that, that means significant amount of revenue will end up being generated by those jobs. So the businesses that are currently along Olive Boulevard and indeed in the Loop will benefit. I want to talk just a second about the added benefits that the development will bring outside of the economic benefits. As you know, it includes a theater. It also includes a junior anchor tenant, and perhaps the worst kept secret in University City, the anchor tenant, which I still won't say publicly. But we know those added benefits will be tremendous for the city and will be tremendous for our region. At this point, I'd like to take any questions that the media might have. We recognize that there was an error that was made by PGAV in the previous agreement that was introduced by the mayor and council. The reason that we were receptive to the reduction of the upfront payment has to do with recognizing that the $1.2 million that we had anticipated coming was not coming to University City. So it's a negotiated agreement. We didn't get everything that we want. Certainly Novus didn't get everything that they want. But I do believe that we certainly were able to secure the $15 million that we had, the mayor and council members had indicated to the community. And, you know, where else, in what other development agreement do you get $3 million up front? It's pretty significant.
What sacrifices did the developer make in the last 3 months of negotiations? Seems like you city gave a little to make this work with giving up some of that upfront payment.
You know, when we approached the development, it was interest-based. And so we certainly had, the mayor and council members had made commitments regarding the $15 million, but that was not the only thing that we were seeking. We recognized that if the development is realized, that it would generate significantly more than the $15 million that would go to the Third Ward as well as to Olive Boulevard. That indeed that funding would go to our fire department for parks and recreation and other economic development activities. So as far as, you know, what did they give up, I wish I could tell you, but that's a better question for Novus. I don't know that there are significant differences between the two. The main issue was certainly for us, the upfront money. We still are able to secure the funding that we were seeking just over a longer period of time. And we're very pleased with Novus and their willingness to negotiate those funds, still remaining some funding back in. You know, $3 million is no small amount. I think that we're very sensitive to the businesses in particular. The homeowners that may be relocated, the majority of them are very approve of this project, and so they will recognize, you know, a significant benefit from it if it's realized. I believe that. And one of the other questions that was in the media recently was why am I willing to recommend slightly higher than what John Ferry's report? I think it's $5 million. I believe that the mayor and council have been clear of their reluctance to use eminent domain. And so we are encouraging Novus to work very hard to try and resolve those issues for what's a fair price for businesses and what's a fair price for residential housing. The other side of that is included in the redevelopment agreement, those businesses that are in Jeffrey Plaza, their funds, their rent payments will be subsidized over a period of 2 years. We like how University City is today. We think that the fact that it's very diverse, both ethnically, economically, religious, we embrace that. And so for the restaurants that bring that added diversity to University City, we will work very hard to try and retain them. To be candid, the residents that are in the impacted area have mostly told us we can't move fast enough. Many of them are in limbo status. As long as this negotiation carries on, they want some certainty. You know, they have children that are in school. I believe that this will bring them that certainty. We have 54 businesses roughly that Novus has already has contract agreements with. I believe there's about 108 from what I recall total. The reason that we had gone back to John Ferry to update the information was primarily so that we could provide the most complete, accurate information to the public. So it had a minimal, if any, impact on the actual negotiations. We were aware of the businesses that were being pursued. We are aware of the business that decided not to continue forward with the development. And so we were able to do our own calculations for that, and we were able to conclude the negotiations. Mr. Ferry believed that at the high end it should be 65, which is only about a $5 million difference from what we are recommending. And we recognize the impact that two things. One is simply that this isn't scientific. Construction prices tend to go up and down. We also recognize that there is some challenges that the developer will face simply by the council being upfront regarding their reluctance to use eminent domain. No, we were aware of the development that pulled out, and so we did what anyone does: run some estimates, looking at the low end, looking at the high end. So we were able to realize what those differences would be. Now, let me stress, we are not talking about the anchor tenant. We're talking about a junior tenant. So that impact was going to be not so significant. We based the estimates just on averages. We looked at what information that a junior anchor tenant of the nature that was included prior to this company pulling out, as well as looking at the low end. Other questions? The development actually goes back to, I want to say, March of 2017. I believe the public meetings started in 2018. I believe that the TIF commission was formed around April of 2018. So it's been a very long haul. We had more than 10 public meetings. We met with large groups. We met with small groups. We met with groups that were simply along Olive. We met with the businesses. We did a significant amount of outreach to explain that development. I think that there was some misinformation initially that was circulating regarding it, regarding the benefits, regarding what the revenues would be used for, as well as what revenues would be generated. So I think that as we were able to clear that information up, to learn more about the different tenants, to learn more about the worst-kept secret in University City, I believe that those things had a positive impact for us. Yes. Let me get her. She had her hand up, and then I'll get you. Yes. No. Yes. Well, I think that the best thing that we can say is that we are making sure that we have sort of belts and suspenders, that the information has been reviewed and re-reviewed. We believe that we had it right the first time, so there's no way that we can excuse the mistake that occurred. What we can do is simply recognize that that mistake did occur. Still, how can we get the best agreement possible? And I believe that we've done that. More than $32 million to University City, $15 million for the third ward, and $10 million for the third ward and $5 million for Olive Boulevard. The addition of the amenities, the hotel, the anchor tenant that everyone is aware of. So we recognize the mistake, but we also recognize that with hard work, we were able to deliver a proposed agreement that we think will be beneficial for not just University City, but also the region. If this development were to go to a city that is not within the pool, University City gets nothing. Gets nothing. We get added traffic, perhaps, but other than that, we get nothing. Other questions? The $3 million is undetermined how we will actually use it until we recognize that it will be a part of the relocation assistance program. We also recognize the needs that exist in the third ward. So we will make some decisions as far as what we want to recommend. The council will ultimately decide, but at this point it would be premature to say this is exactly what we're going to use it for. No. Other questions? We have the opportunity, because we have a consistent revenue stream, to bond if we want to. So that provides us the opportunity to identify what projects we would like to do those projects up earlier than what we would normally have been able to do them, and bond them out, pay the debt over a period of time because of that consistent revenue stream. I'm not sure that's what I would recommend or what the mayor and council will ultimately decide, but that's certainly an option that exists. We have not done the calculations, but to be candid, we had not identified exactly how we were going to use those monies in the past as well. So the net present value of it probably de minimis as relates to the city's ability to use those funds. Yes. Two things on that. Yes, we've actually had, not associated with this development, but a different development that we're working on, interest expressed in having an additional hotel here. I would say until they start building it, they're all wishes, because typically they can pull out at any time. We believe that the market is prime for that. Certainly the developer believes that, and other developers. So we're going to continue to pursue our hotel. I'm sure they'll continue to pursue a theater as well and other amenities. But thank you for your question. Other questions? If we believe that it was make a material difference in the redevelopment agreement, we would have demanded it. But as you can see, the redevelopment agreement we've at least reached a tentative agreement with it, with the information that we had. So we think that we're ready to forward that information on to the mayor and council. Again, we ran our own internal information, our analysis. We recognize the business that dropped out. We know the impact that could potentially have. And so it was a decision that I made. Other questions? Thank you all for coming. It was wonderful for so many of you to participate in this. I would turn things over to the mayor. I don't know if he has any closing comments. Okay. Well, thank you.